Roads in the Bahamas are a bumpy mess. Imagine this, a new, smooth, beautiful road is just paved, and merely 3 weeks later, the road that is supposed to last 20 years is already bumpy and patched up. In the Bahamas, we don't have to imagine. This is precisely what happens. Long story short, the reason why the roads in the Bahamas are so patchy and bumpy is that once the road is paved, Bahamas Power and Light and Water and Sewage, other utility companies too, dig it up to access their pipes and wires, and then patch it up using cold mixed asphalt, a quick and improper way of patching up the road that was made for temporary, not permanent repairs. They use this rather than hot mix asphalt, which is more difficult but the right way. This leads to bumps or potholes. In terms of patches, each utility company does it by itself, not the Ministry of Works, and they essentially do it however they like, evidently very badly. The effects are exacerbated just by the sheer amount of patchwork done because the Ministry of Works, which builds the roads initially, has no interagency cooperation between it and the utility companies, making it difficult to coordinate. In fact, there have been instances of new roads being laid and unmapped utilities by BPL and Water and Sewage being discovered during the milling process, leading to immediate unplanned excavations of the newly prepared road base. Brand new roads being ripped up. If you want the short and simple, that's it. That's why the roads are so bad. And I completely investigated this in the article and in the video that I'm doing now, so please stay tuned. The primary types of roads are flexible pavements comprises of multiple distinct layers, or rigid pavements composed of Portland cement concrete. Essentially all of the roads in the Bahamas are flexible pavement or asphalt roads, so this is the only one I'll be referring to in this video. Asphalt roads may seem like just a black slab laid on the ground, but in reality, they are comprised of multiple layers and materials. Asphalt concrete, which we usually just refer to as asphalt, is a mixture of about 90 to 95% aggregates, which are rocks, stones, sand, etc., and 5 to 10% bitumen, also called asphalt binder. It's made from crude oil and is black, thick, and sticky. Pause. It is essentially the glue that keeps the stones together. It is what gives the structure its black color as well. For the structure of an asphalt road, at the very base is the subgrade, just the regular soil on the ground. It is compacted to make it strong. Above that is the subbase, a layer of crushed stone or gravel. Above that is the base course, which takes most of the load. Pause again. It is made up of larger aggregates mixed with heavy asphalt binder. And at the very top, the road that we see and drive on is called the surface course. It is made up of smaller stones and higher quality binder for a smooth waterproof surface that grips tires well. When you're making asphalt, it likes to be hot, really hot. That doesn't make sense right now, but keep it in the back of your mind. It'll make sense later in the video. To make asphalt, the aggregates, the stone, sand, etc. are mixed with hot bitumen binder at 275 to 320 degrees Fahrenheit to kind of glue the stones together. The hot mixture is loaded onto transport dump trucks, taken to the work site, then is given to an asphalt paver. This machine spreads the material out in a smooth, even layer of a specific thickness. Finally, it is compacted with an asphalt compactor vibrator, those large machines with the big steel wheels or the smaller manually operated ones. The asphalt must be hot at this stage to squeeze out air pockets and lock the stones together. Once the asphalt cools, it becomes solid and rigid. Side note, the more I look at the surface of roads, the more I realize that it's really just small rocks glued together with asphalt. You should take a look next time. Next time you're on the road, just look at it. If you're enjoying this video and you think that it's useful, please share it with a friend on social media or just talk to them about it. Also, consider buying my book, The Bahamian Dictionary. It's a book of Bahamian words and phrases. If you're unable to do this, subscribe to the channel, follow me. It's free and it's always appreciated. Thank you so much. Let's get back to it. Road construction and maintenance is the responsibility of the Ministry of Public Works. The physical building of these roads are usually done by Bahamas, which is a Bahamian state-owned company. Simply put, when there's new roads to be built, the Ministry of Public Works paves the roads via the aforementioned process. Bear in mind that roads are supposed to last between 15 and 25 years. However, we notice that that after a short time, the road becomes bumpy and full of potholes. This happens because after a smooth, new, beautiful road is built, it is immediately destroyed by the utility companies such as Water and Sewage and Bahamas Power and Light. This happens because the original road is made up of hot mix asphalt. The asphalt made in the process I described prior. Hot mix, as the name suggests, is decently hot, allowing for more compaction and adhesion of the asphalt. When the utility companies make their repairs, they rip out the original asphalt, which isn't necessarily an issue. It's not necessarily a bad thing in and of itself. But they use cold mix asphalt rather than hot mix asphalt. Cold mix asphalt is applied at ambient temperatures, just whatever the temperature of the place is, rather than being hot. Originally, the patch may be flush and smooth with the rest of the road, but this doesn't last. The use of cold mix rather than hot mix for permanent repairs creates a stiffness mismatch. When vehicles drive over the boundary between the original hot mix and the softer cold mix patch, the differential deflection causes the edges to fray, leading to raveling and secondary pothole formation. This is the mechanical origin of the bump that motorists feel. The patch is literally moving at a different rate than the surrounding road. In other words, the original road and the patch that the utility companies place are different and do not form a continuous bond, so they always remain as two separate structures rather than combining into one, as it should when done properly. Asphalt roads also expand and contract like all other concrete, we know this. So when a cold mix patch is used, the road does not move as one road. The different parts expand and contract at different rates. The reason that they do this rather than using hot mix is that maintaining a hot mix plant and associated hot box transport equipment is logistically demanding, expensive, and more difficult, whilst cold mix is cheap and easy. Again, this is not the proper way that things should be done. And using these cheap, shoddy methods slowly destroy the entire road system, leaving it a bumpy mess. This displeases me very much. The main reason that this occurs is due to the lack of coordination and oversight of the Ministry of Public Works, which builds the road, and the utility companies that dig up the road to access their stuff. And evidently, they don't patch it up properly. This is illustrated in the Village Road Improvement Project. In 2022, a $6.4 million project called the Village Road Improvement Project was started to build new roads, roundabouts, and traffic lights in the area. However, the project had many issues such as a very delayed timeline since unmapped utilities by Water and Sewage and Bahamas Power and Light were discovered, which necessitated immediate unplanned excavation of the newly prepared road base. In other words, a brand new road had to be destroyed because of a lack of proper coordination between the two entities. The ministry does not know where the pipes and wires are, and when they are damaged, the roads must be excavated and repatched, wasting time and money, and making the roads significantly worse. The legal framework by which the roads are made in the Bahamas is that the Ministry of Works has the authority over the public road, and any person desiring to excavate the road must maintain consent and restore the surface to the satisfaction of the minister. The phrase "to the satisfaction of the minister" is subjective and has failed to ensure engineering excellence. And usually it means that the utility company is they do whatever they want. Usually the job isn't too great. The legal framework also doesn't provide enforcement mechanisms for inter-agency cooperation. Now, here are the solutions that I thought of. The solutions to these issues, thankfully, I think are very simple in principle. In order to ensure that the roads are not destroyed by BPL and Water and Sewage after they have been made, there must be a digitized utility map of all utilities as well as assets belonging to the Ministry of Public Works for better coordination. There should be a hot mix only mandate prohibiting the use of cold patches for permanent repairs on the roads because they ruin the roads and make them bumpy and full of potholes. Third-party quality audits must be completed after a patch is made to ensure that it is high quality. And finally, there has to be some form of accountability from the utility companies when they destroy the road. In my research, I found that countries with better roads, defect liability period, where utility companies must pay a fine if the patches that they make do not last more than 24 months on the road without becoming all bumpy and full of potholes. That's it. I hope you all enjoyed. If there's anything you want me to know, please leave it in the comment section below. This took much time to research and write, so a follow would be very, very much appreciated. Please also tell a friend and share on social media if you thought this video had useful information, as that's how the Nico Miller following grows most. If this article and the video that I'm making does really well, then there's a lot of other things I want to do with regards to the roads, and I have a lot of other useful information that I wrote down. So and if I get a lot of likes, I'll make kind of like a part 2. You can support me by buying my book, The Bahamian Dictionary, on Amazon and the local stores. It's a book of Bahamian words and phrases. Thank you. And I'm always looking for new ideas of things to do, things to investigate, articles to write in my blog. So I do read I read all of the comments. So give me some ideas, please. Thank you.